Welcome to the Citizen channel, and today on the Citizen channel we have a History Boys feature. And we're going to go back to 1994. Yeah, I mean, not so long ago on the scale of things. I go back and relive things a lot older than this, like I am. I'm an old bugger answer. So we're going to go back to the 21st of December 1994. And a cup we've done quite well in recently, the League Cup. It was called the Coca-Cola Cup then, of course. And we're going to go back to a fourth-round replay against Newcastle United, who were flying pretty high at the time. And it's Christmas, 21st of December. Brian Horton was in charge of City. And we visited St James's Park under, of course, a future manager of City's at the time, Kevin Keegan, who was doing a pretty good job for the old Geordies, wasn't he? Newcastle sat third in the Carling Premiership, as it was then, on 38 points. United was second on 41. And Blackburn Rovers, remember them? Yeah, they're still around. Were top on 43 points. City were doing okay. We were at ninth on 28 points, so not a total disaster. Just a little bit of brief of what was going on here in the UK in and around that time, just to jog your memories. I mean, away from football, Tony Blair's Labour Party were dominant in the polls, though they had to wait until June 1997 before they won a landslide victory to get him into number 10, and we know how that ended. It was confirmed that Moore's murderers, yes, Myra Hindley, Ian Brady, would never, ever be released from prison, quite rightly so as well, and that was confirmed. There weren't many prisoners were in that state where the sort of life meant life, and that was fair enough. E17, remember them? Yes, Stay Another Day. Stay, I won't sing it to you, this one. Was the Christmas number one on the single charts, but it was the Beautiful South, of course, the Beautiful South, with Carry On Up the Charts. That was the number one album. Bruce Forsyth. I was going to try and do a Bruce Forsyth impression. I won't bother. Good guy. Bruce Forsyth was days away from presenting his last edition of the Generation Game. One of my favourite programmes and family programmes back in the day, of course, that one. And even worse than that for the kids, yeah, the last episode of the Raggy Dolls had just been shown as well. I think that was on ITV. Lion King had beaten Forrest Gump to be the biggest box office film of the year for 1994. And the pound then, well, the pound in your pocket then would be worth £1.71 now, so not a lot of difference really, was it? I mean, obviously inflation's not been that fantastic over the last 20-odd years or so as I'm recording this. Anyway, back to football. I hope that jogged a few memories for you. Let me know anything you remember about 1994 personally or football-wise. Yeah, 40-page Newcastle programme. Cost the princely sum of £1.50, so that wasn't too bad, was it? Crystal Palace away waited the visitors. Yeah, we already knew, obviously this was a replay, so we already knew the draw had already been made for the next round. The fifth round would be the quarter-final, wouldn't it, in the League Cup? We'd actually drawn the original game 3 weeks previously at Main Road, a 1-1 draw. So it was pretty much felt with the form Newcastle were in, certainly at St James's Park, that City was sort of going to struggle a little bit. They didn't quite turn out like that. Newcastle themselves had seen off Barnsley in the two-legged second round, of course, a 2-1 win at home and a 1-0 win away. And then they beat United. Yeah, they beat United at home in front of 34,178 in the next round to get through to meeting us. And 30,156, or slightly less, will be at St James's for this replay. Plenty of City fans. I wasn't there myself. Obviously, if you look back at, there's some highlights on YouTube, very brief highlights, but there sounds like a lot of City fans there. I'm sure there were a big cheers, obviously, when the City goals went in. We'd seen Barnet off in round two, of course, despite losing 1-0 away. Very embarrassing. We beat them 4-1 at home, so 4-2 on aggregate. And a 4-3 win. That's a cracking game at Loftus Road against QPR to set up this Newcastle tie. So the teams that day, the City team that day, was Dibble, some names for you, Dibble, Foster, Kerrigan, Ian Brightwell, Lomas, Summerbit, Gaudino, Flitcroft, Walsh, Rossler and Beagrie. What a team, fantastic. And the subs, on the subs bench, Quinn, he came on in the 59th minute. Vonke, he came on in the 89th minute. And fortunately, unused was Martin Margetson. Sorry, Martin, my apologies, but not the greatest. Newcastle, yeah, they had an interesting team. As I say, they were riding quite high in the Premier League, doing a good job under Kevin Keegan. In goal, Pavel Smichek, if you remember him. Mark Hottiger, Barry Venison, Darren Peacock, Philippe Albert, or Philip Albert as we call him up north, John Beresford, Rule Fox, Steve Watson, Lee Clark, Paul Kitson, Andy Cole, another future City player. Subs, Paul Bracewell, he came after 62 minutes. Alan Nielsen, he was unused, not too sure who he was. And Mike Hooper was unused. I think he was the keeper, wasn't he, Mike Hooper? Anyway, the headlines summed it all up. I think you can gauge from what I've been speaking that we actually won this one. Headlines will make good reading for us City fans. Yeah, a bit of a pun here. Keegan's men knocked Kraut of the cup, Kraut, yeah, because of Rosler, of course. Would you get away with that these days? I don't know. Krauts, it's not a very nice thing to say, is it? But hey, different times, and why not? It's just a nickname, isn't it? Horton Heroes blown away, Kev. Rosler Rocket, they are not Rodri's Rockets. Rosler Rocket sinks Geordies. Uwe and outs. Yeah, very clever, these things, aren't they? Rosler ends Kev's dream. Boss takes his hat off to City. City Slickers. Horton's true blue salute. Horton salute his cup battlers. And we go over to Paul Hints. There's a couple. I've got a couple of match reports, but Paul Hints is usually entertaining. He certainly entertained me here with his first paragraph, that's for sure. And we go over to Paul Hint for his match report for the Manchester Evening News. His heading was simple: Horton's heroes march on. So I'll just read the piece in the Manchester Evening News. This is the day after an ever hopeful, optimistic Paul Hints, as most City fans were in those days. We were always optimistic. I'll go. Here we go. Wembley is surely beckoning Manchester City now. Yeah, well, all right, mate. A Coca-Cola Cup quarter-final against Palace at Selhurst Park will hold no terror for the Blues after last night's sensational fourth-round replay victory over mighty Newcastle. It was a night when you're proud to be a Mancunian on Tyneside. The blue-shirted players with hearts as big as buckets, fighting together, shoulder to shoulder, to pull off one of the greatest results in City's recent history. It was a game which, on paper, the Blues should never have won. Decimated by injury, you wouldn't have given tuppence for City's chances at Fortress St James, where no side has succeeded in lowering Newcastle's flag this season. But this was a night when sheer guts and a burning desire to win made a mockery of the odds as the Main Road boys dredged up hidden reserves of resolve to snatch a victory which even Magpies manager Kevin Keegan conceded was richly deserved. Probably why he came to us in the end. He was so impressed. From goalkeeper Andy Dibble to second-half substitute Niall Quinn, the Blues were heroes, one and all. Young fullbacks Steve Lomas, John Foster, both playing out of position, scarcely put a foot wrong from start to finish, while big burly centre-back Alan Kerrigan finally won over the City fans with his most convincing display since his transfer from Middlesbrough some 15 months ago. It didn't take him long to win us over, did it? And at the heart of a quite magnificent defence stood Ian Brightwell, who tackled himself to a standstill to save Andy Cole with a breathtaking performance, which must have broken the heart of the Magpies' lethal hitman. In midfield, Flitcroft at 23, one of City's youngest ever skippers, ran himself into the ground to give German newcomer Maurizio Gaudino the freedom to demonstrate his world-class technique, which will give Brian Horton's side a new dimension over the months to come. Gaudino's free role relied on the work rate of the players around him, and no one responded better than Nick Summerby, who battled tirelessly to both attack and defend, and yet still had enough puff to play a major role in both goals. And the final pieces of the near-perfect team display were found up front with Paul Walsh and the amazing Uwe Rosler terrorising the Newcastle defence whenever they got within sight of goal, and Peter Beagley bravely keeping the Magpies' rearguard at full stretch despite needing a pre-match injection to deaden the pain of a hip injury. It was Rosler, who set up his sides against the odds victory by giving the Blues the lead after 11 minutes. Summerby had already shown he had legs on John Beresford, galloped clear down the right to send over a cross, which Barry Venison and Darren Peacock looked favourites to clear. But that was until the fearless Rosler threw himself forward between the two defenders to knock the ball forward and blast a shot low past Pavel Chernyshek for his 8th goal in 11 starts. Rosler's strike speaks of a thunderous response from Keegan's high rollers, with Foster somehow scooping Rule Fox's cross off the head of Cole, and the gallant Dibble going full length to deny Peacock and Paul Kitson. The Blues creaked under the pressure but never cracked, throwing up a thick blue line in front of Dibble, which the Magpies never seriously threatened to dismantle. The substitution of the rapidly tiring Gaudino in favour of Quinn on the hour failed to disrupt the Blues, with the towering striker throwing himself into the action to provide the perfect outlet for the overworked lads at the back. Quinn unwittingly had a hand in the goal, which settled this gripping 10 minutes from the end, this gripping tie 10 minutes from the end. With the Magpies becoming more and more desperate and throwing everyone forward, action man Summerby suddenly found himself in oceans of space as he burst down the right with another of his powerful runs. His fierce cross was palmed away by keeper Chernychek, but Summerby pounced on the rebound and headed back across. Quinn mishit his volley, but he caught everyone out to be the perfect. Everyone out was the perfect pass for Walsh, who swiveled to drive home. Lucky, perhaps, but fortune favours the brave, and they don't come any braver than Manchester City did at St James's Park. Well, thank you, Paul Hinds. An excellent match report. Hey, City are back, aren't we? Hey, Wembley bound, City are back. Brian Horton's thoughts on this in the evening news. Brian Horton commented, "All you can ask of your players is they give everything they got, and that is what my lads did. I was proud of every one of them. Newcastle are a top-class side who hadn't been beaten at home this season, and they were not going to give up the record without a fight. But Kevin Keegan was the first to say that we deserved our victory, and I agree with him. Given the circumstances we were playing and where, and all our injury problems, that was probably our best display of my time in charge. I don't really want to single out individuals because it was essentially a tremendous team performance. They had a lot of possession, which you would expect, but we defended as units, and I thought the boys at the back were superb. I thought we owed our supporters something after our last two performances, but we went a long way towards putting the record straight by our display tonight." So a very happy Brian Horton. I think a very happy bunch of City fans as well. And the form guide, Mr. Hintz's ratings on the players that night. Dibble got an 8. Foster got a 9. Kernigan got a 9. Brightwell got a 10. Ian Bright, there's no one's 10. Only Sergio. Sergio deserves a 10. 93-20. No one else deserves a 10. But we'll let him off. Ian Brightwell got a 10. Lomas got a 9. Summerby got a 9. Galdino got a 7. Not so good. Flitcroft got a 9. Walsh got a 9. Rossley got a 9. And Beagley got an 8. Heady days. The subs, Quinn got a 7. Bonk got a 7. Referee, Mr. M. Reed, R-E-E-D. Yeah, probably do remember him. Man of the match, as far as Mr. Paul Hinch is concerned, well, based on that score of 10 out of 10, it can only be Mr. Ian Brightwell, can't it? Paul Hinch says the young defender gave a faultless display at the heart of the City rearguard. Yeah, so there you go. Thanks, Paul. Wembley beckoned. Yeah, surely the Oracle. The Oracle, he knows everything. He got his crystal balls out, and he predicted a Wembley appearance. Sadly, no, we went out we went out at Palace. A trip to Palace didn't quite go to plan. I mean, the sort of headlines sum up what happened on that night. The headlines: Madcap Blues simply cave in, and Darren clicks as Armstrong and Kompany sends City crashing. So there you go. The final score that night. No City scorers. I don't know what. I do know the player ratings, but that's perhaps for another day. We'll have a look. I'm sure we'll have come back to that in a future History Boys feature. Final score: Crystal Palace 4. Manchester City 0. So, yeah, perhaps Paul just misjudged the Wembley trip. Of course, it'll be less than 5 years later before we did actually go to Wembley, but under totally different circumstances, not under the circumstances, of course, of a cup final. But so perhaps Paul Hintz's his balls needed a new shine or something like that. But hey, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. Let me know any memories you've got. If you're there that night, let me know any thoughts. That'd be absolutely brilliant. Hope you enjoyed this little. Please give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. This little History Boys feature. Talking, of course, a trip to Newcastle. Back on the 21st of December, 1994. Horton against Keegan. And a great little Coca-Cola fourth-round replay. That's happy days for City. Some great stuff. And I'm sure some good memories for you as well if you were there that night. So let me know. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. What are we going to do the rest of the day? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More important, let's all look after each other. To me here again on the Citizen channel. Please have a look at my film and TV channel as well. I look at films and TV dramas and information vlogs, what's out to buy, what's on at the cinema, stuff like that. So you can get on there and give us a thumbs up on there as well, guys. That'll be absolutely brilliant. I'd love to see you on there as well. But either way, if it's on there or back here on the Citizen channel very soon, I only ask one thing, guys, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. See you later. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.